Vlogmas. Today is so exciting because we're gonna make some Christmas cookies together. I'm in my Christmas PJs. We're just gonna have some Christmas fun. I love to bake all year round, but there's something about the holidays that is just perfect for baking. It's so cozy. There's nothing like some fresh Christmas cookies. So today we're gonna make the peanut butter blossom cookies. These are a very well-known cookie, Hershey Kiss on top peanut butter cookie. However, we do it in our family a little bit differently. We add a few extra ingredients and make them a little bit more Christmassy. So let's get started. These are very beginner-friendly cookies. You don't need a lot, they don't take a lot of time, and let's get started. I'm gonna take you through the whole thing. I'm gonna be making half of a normal batch of this recipe just because it's only me and Jared in this apartment. We don't need like 24 cookies. So I'm gonna be doing half the ingredients, but I'll read to you what the actual ingredients call for because you should make the whole batch. Let's be real. First thing you want to do is always preheat your oven. This recipe, you're going to preheat your oven to 375 right on the dot, and make sure you do that first so then when you have your cookies ready to put in the oven, you're not waiting for your oven to preheat. For this recipe, you are gonna need a mixer. You can use a hand mixer or a stand mixer. I always love a stand mixer. And I'm a big fan of this paddle attachment for the KitchenAid that has this rubber on the end, so it really scrapes the bowl and it gets all those ingredients mixed in. So the first thing we're gonna do is combine our sugar, butter, and peanut butter all in one bowl. We have our peanut butter. This is, you're gonna use a half of a cup of peanut butter, all of it in there, half a cup of sugar, and a half of a cup of butter. My baking secret is always to use Kerrygold butter. I think it's just makes your cookies or cake or whatever so good and rich in flavor and moist because this butter is just, it's out of this world. And you're gonna mix that all together. In baking, a lot of times people say to cream your butter, and that is gonna make your cookies nice and fluffy. It's gonna also volumize your batter. That's just gonna make your cookies very light and fluffy and moist. Oh, it's just so good. You wanna let this run for at least a few minutes to really get your ingredients in there. A good indicator of if it's done or not is if you can't see any more of those chunks of butter in there. You don't want any chunks of butter because that's just gonna make it really uneven, and you don't want to bite into your cookie and have like a chunk of like butter in there. So you want to make it nice and smooth, like so. Now we're going to add in 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 3/4 cup of flour, and a pinch of salt. By pinch, technically 1/8 to 1/4, but I feel like saltiness really brings out flavors, especially in this cookie. So I just do a pinch because if it's not perfect, it really doesn't matter with this recipe. And we're gonna mix that all together. You always want to make sure you push down your ingredients. Sometimes on the side of your bowls you have a lot of batter that doesn't get mixed in properly. So you really want to push it down and make sure all of those ingredients are being combined. Now we're going to add in some dark chocolate chips. This is not a normal ingredient for peanut butter blossoms, but it really makes it. You can use whatever kind of chocolate chips you prefer, but dark chocolate in this recipe is perfect. It's so almost like bittersweet that it doesn't add a ton of sweetness to the cookie, but adds a ton of flavor. If I was making a whole batch, I would add 1 bag, but since I'm halving this, I'm just gonna add the half of the bag, but add the full bag. All right, I said I wasn't gonna add the whole bag and literally pretty much added the whole bag. And then you're gonna incorporate that into your batter as well. You don't wanna overmix those chips in, just a few seconds stirring to make sure they're incorporated and you'll be good. You always gotta test it to make sure it's not poison, right? Now for the fun part. I have red and green sugar sprinkles here. I'm gonna add them each to a little bowl. So 1 bowl for the red, and you wanna put a generous amount in there. And 1 for the green, same thing, pretty generous amount. And now we're gonna start rolling our dough into balls. I have a teaspoon here because I like to make them I'm gonna make them a little smaller, especially because I halved the recipe. Instead of making a few larger ones, I'm gonna make a bit more smaller ones. Now, after this next step, you can put these in the refrigerator, make the dough a little bit more stiff, and it will not make them spread as much. I feel like I do that about 50% of the time. I just kind of see how my dough is feeling. If it's feeling really sticky, I will definitely put it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes before I bake them. But if it's feeling okay and pretty stiff, I just throw them in the oven. I don't mind my cookies spreading that much, but just know that putting it in the refrigerator will help your cookies not spread as much. I also will say, I have no qualifications to be spreading any of this. This is all just based on my experience. This is not professional advice in the slightest. I know a good amount about baking because I've been doing it pretty much my whole life, but it's all of my knowledge is just based on my experiences and not actual professional advice. Don't you always hate when you have a little bit of dough left that's like not like enough to make like a whole nother batch, but like you don't want to waste it, you know? So there we have our cookies. Now we're gonna add some Christmas fun. So this is my green sprinkles. I'm gonna take my cookie and just roll it around, but I like to leave the middle not covered in sprinkles, so it looks like that. Now I make these cookies year round, so these are definitely not just Christmas cookies. However, during Christmas, I do use red and green. So as you can see, I just kind of roll it so it's covered in green, but the top is not. So as I was saying, I like to make these cookies all year round, not just during Christmas. During Halloween, you could do like orange and purple I've done for Halloween. I've done all red for Philly season. Like you can do whatever you want with these cookies. They're definitely not just Christmas cookies. They are year-round cookies. I'd say the only bad part about these cookies is that they do have peanut butter in them, so just be careful if you're bringing them to parties with any allergies or anything. But other than that, like who doesn't love chocolate and peanut butter? You know, it's a pretty good combo if you ask me. Perfect. Here we have, now I'm gonna use red because I think it looks cute if they're red and green. I definitely want to do more cookie videos during Vlogmas. I know for sure I have 2 more recipes that I for sure am going to do. Please leave below any other recipes or fun cookies you want to see. For a sneak peek, one is a super simple cookie, even more simple than these. I was actually going to maybe do that first because it is such a beginner-friendly recipe, but I did not have an ingredient that I needed, so I didn't do that. But that will be coming at some point. And then other than that, I have another one that is not a cookie, but another dessert that is super yummy. And I'm gonna put a Christmas twist on it that I saw on Pinterest, but I've never done it before, so we'll see how that goes. Here we have our cookies ready to go in the oven. We are going to put them in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. So I like to put them in for 8, check on them, and then if they need 2 more extra minutes, that's what I'll do. So in they go. And while that's baking, we clean up. Our cookies are out of the oven and I put them on a cooling rack to make them cool nice and evenly so they're not sitting on that hot pan. We only had 1 cookie casualty when I was transferring these over. 1 kind of fell apart, but that's okay, that's part of cookie baking. And you know the rule, if 1 breaks, you have to eat it, so there you go. We are going to add Hershey Kisses to the top of our cookies. You're just going to lightly press it in. You want to press it in a good amount so that it sticks on the cookie, but you also don't want to like jam it in the center because then your cookie's gonna fall apart. My tip is always to use the dark chocolate Hershey Kisses because I think it adds to the flavor and it doesn't make it as sweet, but I didn't have any. So these are normal ones, which still taste good. So just put 1 on each of your cookies. Also just makes them look so cute. For the finishing touch, this is my new favorite final step. I just got the pixie glitter from the Cake Bake Shop. It comes in just a little spray and you can spray it, it's edible. You just spray it on your baked goods and it makes them all sparkly, so perfect. Thank you all so much for watching. I loved baking some Christmas cookies with you and I will definitely be back soon to make some more cookies. Stay tuned tomorrow for our next day of Vlogmas, which if you didn't already know, we're doing Vlogmas from December 1st to the 25th, so 25 days straight of daily videos. So make sure you're subscribing and hitting that bell to get notified every day from when we post our next day of Vlogmas. Thank you all so much for watching and I hope you have a wonderful day and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.